Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Dreamforce. Thank you for coming. My name is Roy Davis. I'm a senior product security engineer here at Salesforce, and we're going to talk about storing secrets on the Salesforce platform today. Before we get started, I'm sure you guys have all seen this slide. It basically says I am not an investment counselor, and anything that I say should not be taken as any sort of forward-looking statement that you want to use to make investment decisions. So I do kind of a lot of things here at Salesforce. I manage the IoT line, the IoT cloud security. I manage the bug bounty program. I play a little foosball once in a while. I do volunteer work at area high schools, robotics. And I got to go to Peru in the spring, and I brought Astro with me for a week in the Andes Mountains. So that's where that picture comes from. So the topic today is secrets, and that's probably why most of you guys are here. We're going to focus on developer-centric secret storage through Apex and some admin-type managerial ways that you can store secrets, and how to do these things in a secure fashion. Every application virtually has secrets, right? And so one of the things that we want to do is define what a secret is. So anything that affects the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of your application is a secret. Anything that needs to be protected. So in this talk, we're going to really look at passwords, usernames, passwords, keys, public keys, private keys, OAuth tokens, API tokens, things like that. These are what are known as application-level secrets. We're not going to be focusing on user-level secrets, things like PII, credit card information, things like that. And so when we think about how secrets are handled and when should we think about that, if you are subscribed or using some sort of a software development lifecycle, you really want to bake this in early and decide early how you want to do this, because it'll save you money in the long run having to change your design later on, okay? So who are we protecting secrets from? You guys are all like thinking hackers, right? You know, if I have my hoodie up and I'm in the basement. Well, it's really more than that. It's users, customers, right? People that are installing your packages, partners, system administrators on those systems where your packages are installed. Everybody. We need to think about everybody, protecting secrets from everybody. Security by default, right? When we talk about that, we're looking at the principle of least privilege, right? So users should have the minimum required permissions to data and secrets that they need to do their job, okay? So, think about, you know, what if a user or an admin downloads something, some malicious package or some malicious code from somewhere else and gets it on their computer. You want to be able to make sure that even if that does happen, your secrets are not exposed, okay? Application-level secrets, what we're going to talk about today, is going to protect things like theft of data, privilege escalation, intellectual property loss, right? User impersonation, having more privileges than you're supposed to have on a system, all right? The Salesforce platform has a lot of security controls baked into it to protect your data. So when your data is going across the internet, right, we're protecting it in transit. When it's stored in our databases, it's protected there. Multi-factor, multi-level controls, right, CRUD FLS and sharing for data access. In this talk specifically, we're going to be talking about configuration data for your packages and for your orgs, and some of the right ways to do it, and some of the problems that can happen if you don't implement this the correct way. I don't have time to talk about all these things, obviously, in 20 minutes, but here's some links that you can get to. I've kind of made them shortened up for you to make them easier to get to. Also, right over here, we have the security station. Product security, all of my colleagues, some of who are in the audience right now, are going to be over there, and we'll be able to answer all your questions. All right. So packages. We have a couple of different flavors of packages. We have unmanaged and managed, all right? Creating an unmanaged package. So packages are kind of like like a jar file, if you're a developer and you know about Java jar files, or a gem file in Ruby, right? We're taking a lot of different things, we're putting them all together. For managed packages, this allows like Apex classes, Visual Force pages, Salesforce objects, common metadata, things like that to be packaged together into one unit. And then you can distribute these across orgs, or you can sell them, right, in the App Exchange. So to create one of these, it's pretty simple. You just go to any dev org, and I'm going to kind of walk you through how to set that up to do this. These packages come in two flavors. We have, like I said, unmanaged and managed. Unmanaged packages are sometimes good. Like if you are hiring a contractor to put some code together for you, or some feature, some functionality, and you don't want them to like hide stuff from you. Maybe they get halfway through the project and then they just sort of disappear or something. You want to be able to finish that up, right? So you want to have access and visibility into all of that. One thing about it is there's no secret protection in here, right? It's like, I've heard the analogy, it's like a box of chocolates. You open it up and see everything inside and pick what you want. So don't use an unmanaged package to store secrets, okay? As a best practice also, if you want to migrate components from a Salesforce sandbox into production, don't use these unmanaged packages either. You're going to want to use change sets instead. All right. So managed packages have some security benefits that come along with them, right? We can push automatic updates, patches, fixes, security issues that come up. We want to push something out to remediate that. The source code it's basically obfuscated or protected, encrypted inside this package so that anybody who gets access to it doesn't have access to that code or any of the secrets stored inside it. So if we have a situation where we're distributing a package, we don't want admins seeing the data or the configurations, we want to use a managed package. Managed packages also come in two flavors. We've got beta, which kind of allows this sort of test, release, or write code, test it, release it, and then kind of go around and around until you have it the way you want it. And then we also have release, which is sort of the live product kind of package. And from a security perspective, basically, obviously you're going to use the release when you go to production. All right. I don't have a lot of time to go into managed packages in depth, right? If this were a 40-minute talk, I would be able to do that. But we are going to kind of step through it very quickly. But if you want to learn a lot more about it, then take this trail, and you'll be ready to go. All right, so let's talk really quickly. Let's take a quick peek inside this org, this demo org I have here. And let's kind of try and understand, before we get into all this stuff, what does this look like? What's happening here? So the outer oval rectangle is an org, right? And it has a local namespace, right? And maybe I have some protected custom settings or some named credentials in here, and I've got a dev, and maybe I've got a little Apex, right? I've also got a managed package that I've installed over here. Now that managed package, as we're going to see in a minute, has its own namespace, and those namespace differences protect the secrets along with some of the other things that I've talked about. Inside this managed package, we've got some Apex and global methods that have access to the name credentials and custom settings and custom metadata inside the package, right? But that package doesn't have any access outside unless we give that access, right? Conversely, everything outside can't access the package unless we have like a global Apex method or some sort of public method that allows access to the secrets, right? Not something you probably want to do. You want to put the secrets inside there. I talked to an App Exchange customer last week. How do I get a custom configuration certificate into a managed package, right? How do we do that? We have a method that is one way, right? It's a setter, it's not a getter. The person who implements this package is going to have some key maybe that they spun up or you gave them. They're going to push it inside there. Once it's a one-way street. Once it's in, it can't come back out. So let's look at some of these things in more depth. So name credentials, custom settings, and custom metadata fields. All right. So name credentials. What is this thing? It's basically like an environment variable. If you kind of think back in terms of DOS or Linux or something, you got these environment variables that hide secrets, right? And then you reference those in your code. So here we have a demo or a little piece of code that we are trying to reach out with an API key. Okay, so we've got some URL, some data source at the end of this thing, and it requires an API key to call every single time. Now, if you do it like this, right, super secret key, it's in the code. People can see that, right? If it's in your org, probably don't want to do that. So a name credential in the local namespace replaces this insecure code with something more like this, right? And so I'll show you here in a minute where we're going to go in and create a name credential. And this one is called some data endpoint, all right? And so now you can see that the secret, the API key is no longer in here. So there's a couple of different authentication types that you can set up with name credentials. We've got usernames and passwords, OAuth 2.0 providers, things like Google, Facebook, Twitter, something you would set up ahead of time. We can do trusted certificates that maybe were shared with you, like I just spoke about. And also the Salesforce Connect framework can also be used and set up if you use the Apex connector framework. All right? You might be thinking, okay, well, this is awesome. We can't see it in the code, but what about the logs? What about, if we can do this call out with this name credential, is it in the logs? No, it's not. So here I created one called available rabbits. And we'll see what that means here in a minute. But I took a screenshot quickly of the log, and you can see that you can't see the secret. It's not revealed there. OK, so here you can see that I've got a user with a default profile set up in an org, which has, by default, the view setup and config perm enabled. And this means that any URL-based auth token, such as an API key, is going to be exposed to them if they just go to setup and look, right? Also, if I use the username and password configuration, they're going to see the username, but they won't see the password, OK? That's even true for admins. Once the password's in there, you're not going to be able to see it, all right? This may be a security concern for you, right, in your local org, OK? If you want to hide this data from users, you need to disable the view setup and config perm. All right. So there's pros and cons to names credentials. It makes development and org admin easy. Perfect for when org admins, and all your users can see the secret, right? Makes it easy. But that pro is also a con because now everybody can see the secret, right? So security and easy is kind of a balance, right? Also, when you're creating packages and you're including name credentials in your package, the values are not included in your package, okay? Certificates are also not packageable. So like I was saying before, creating a global method on your managed package to push in some sort of certificate configuration after release. So there's some extra work after install. All right. So now we're going to move on and talk about custom settings. So what are these? So simply packaging up your code in a managed package has a lot of security benefits. We just kind of saw that. Using managed packages also provides additional protections for storing secrets within custom settings and metadata. So custom settings let you create sets of data that are exposed to the application cache. These are nice because accessing this stuff does not go against your SOQL count, right? Your limitations on how many queries you can do. So there's some efficiency increases here. In terms of application security, custom settings can be used to store sensitive information if they're configured correctly. And so what does that mean? We've got a couple of different ways that we can do this. We can create custom settings and metadata in our local org, but they're going to have the same problems as we had with named credentials, right? People can see that stuff. When you're setting these up, as I'll show you here in a minute, we have public and protected. So in the local namespace or in an unmanaged package, these are not really great places to store secrets because people can see those. But within a managed package, if you want it to be protected, you have to select protected, right? in the setup. And we're going to see that here in just a minute. If it's public within the package, it's still going to be visible outside the package because it's public. All right. So starting with the Spring 18 release, admins have the ability to control the list type custom setting when you're creating custom settings. By default, the manage list custom type setting is disabled. So this screen is just showing you quickly, go in and enable list type through setup. It's under schema settings if you're looking for that. So I turned that on, and you can see in this example I've created a custom setting called protected, custom setting dash protected in my local org. It's a list type. I set the value, the visibility to protected, you can see. And next we're going to add some custom fields to store the data because the only field that comes with it is the name of the custom setting. So here I've added a value. There's several options for the data type. I chose text. You can choose a lot of other kinds. And so now we've got our custom setting object, and we've added a field to store some value, key value pair. And so now we want to enter some data to store and create kind of like a record with this object. And to do that, I'm going to click the Manage button. And then you click the New button. And as you can see here, I've created two custom settings, one for username and one for password. And to do this, I click to the New button, and I entered the data. All right. So you'll enter all the required, the required property name, as well as any custom fields you added. As you can see here, I have value, and click Save. Right. So again, the admins created these custom settings in the local org with visibility set to protected. So how secure is this, right? Well, here I logged in again as a user with default perms, and I can navigate into setup and view the custom setting values. All right. So as far as security goes, in the local namespace, custom settings with visibility set to public or protected are accessible by nearly all users unless you specifically go in and disable those perms that we talked about earlier. Here's a quick look at a demo I wrote to show a couple of things. Again, the data stored in custom settings in the local org is accessible via Apex as well. The Apex controller code here is quite simple, in fact. We are creating a map called all secrets, and we're just basically calling into our custom object, calling get all, and then grabbing all the values, and then I just wrote a little visual force to dump that to the screen here. Okay? Super secret password, super secret username. All right. So now custom metadata types. These are just a bit different. It's very similar in their creation. Here I've created one called CMT_secrets, and you'll notice the visibility setting wording here is a bit different in the UI, and I think I'm going to zoom in on that just to give you kind of a visual on there. So if this type is installed as part of a managed package, you need to determine what visibility you want. Is it public or protected? Okay. So all Apex code and the APIs can be visible and set up in the top selection, but we want it to protect our secrets, so we're picking the bottom configuration now. So as we can see, the custom metadata types come with more standard fields than the custom settings do. We want to add one for value anyway, so click New. And on the field, we have some visibility as well. So I want to draw your attention to this because if you're storing secrets in a custom metadata type, you need to think about how you want to update those values in the future. If the secret is yours alone, pick option 1. If the secret is customizable by the installer, pick option 2. If the secret never changes, pick option 3. Okay? All right, so now we have a custom field to hold our value. We're going to add some records. From the custom metadata type detail screen here, we're going to click the Manage button, and then we're going to click New. And we're going to add something. Here I have API key, super secret key again. All right. So let's create a managed package now and hide some secrets inside it. The first thing we got to do is go to an org, spin up a dev org, and you can see that I've got a package down here that I created called secret storage. All right. We have to make some changes to the org in order for this to really work to create a managed package. So let's start doing that. As you can see in my unmanaged package up there on the right, it's unmanaged, and I've got some fields in it, right? All the stuff we created earlier. I need to update my developer settings to allow my org to create a managed package. So what do? I go to developer setting packages and I click edit. This is where it's going to tell you some things about picking a namespace that's unique across all of Salesforce, and it's going to also make you pick a package that you want to manage. You can only manage one package per dev org. So here I selected one. I've got my Fluffy Bunnies namespace, which just so happened to be available. And I picked my package called Secret Storage here. And there's a screen in between there where you review your settings, but I skipped that. It's just kind of an OK thing. And then, so now you can see I've changed, the type is now managed, and I've added a controller to my package in order to allow access to some of the functionality in there that the package will be using the secrets that we stored in there to reach out and maybe talk to an API endpoint with an API key or a certificate or username and password or whatever it is. All right? I had my test coverage classes on, because you can't upload your package unless you have 75% test coverage, so I did all that as well. And OK, great. It says that my package is good to go. And now I'm going to upload it. And so how do we do that? Well, after the platform determines that you're good to go, you'll get this screen. And we're going to kind of zoom in here. You're going to get this installation URL, right? So let's say I'm in the dev org that I created this package in, and I click this link. What's going to happen? Is it going to install this? No. It's not going to install it because you're going to have a namespace clash, right? So you're going to get something like this. So now you need to send that link over to somebody who wants to install it, right? And that's going to be a different org, different namespace. You're good to go. All right. So let's take a quick look back here. We learned about named credentials, custom metadata, pushing these things inside a managed package to hide them, right? We've got Apex controllers outside in the local namespace that can't access these values unless they go through a public method or a global method like this. But everything inside can access it, OK? Excellent. So we learned about secret storage today. We learned about storing named credentials and custom settings and custom metadata types. We learned about a little bit shallow dive into managed packages and some of the other security controls on our platform. So thank you so much for coming. Please feel free to come and ask me questions over here or come to our security station, which is right over there. And again, thank you for everything. We also have some more talks. I am doing a talk at 2:30 today, avoiding common security mistakes in App Exchange packages. And then we've got some other stuff going on the rest of the day and tomorrow as well. So thank you all for coming.